Why would you count out the St. Louis Blues from being a cup contending team?
Hey, this is Brandon Chen. Subscribe to Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today on Locked On Blues, I have a busy episode for you today, as I kind of want to talk to you about other teams and not the players, but the fans, the reporters, counting the Blues out from potentially being a cup contending team. I also want to talk about why the Central Division scares me so much. And then finally, it's my favorite Friday segment. Well, my only Friday segment. Are we feeling blue? Was this a good week or was this a bad week for our St. Louis Blues? Before I begin today's episode, I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Hello, and I hope everybody is having a good Friday, August 22nd. And before I begin today's episode, I have something I want to tell you actually. So I was parking my car. And as I was parking my car, I got out and I noticed the license plate in front of me. And it was STL. And I thought that was so cool. I'm like, you know what? Some St. Louis love, and it put me in a really good mood. So I just wanted to share that with all of you. I'll post it on Twitter at Locked On Blues. Anyways, I kind of want to talk about something that I feel like might sound a little crazy to say, and I understand that. But at the same time, I still feel like the Blues are one of those teams that you just cannot count out of cup contending contention. I know, it's a little crazy. Now, do I think the Blues are going to win the cup this upcoming season? I don't think that. However, I think that it could still potentially happen. And I'll tell you why. The Blues, for what it's worth, they actually have a lot more talent than I give them credit for. I mean, you have Jordan Binnington, who is one of the best goalies in the NHL. And I don't know why people, not us, I know we all love Binner, but I'm talking about other team reporters, national media, why they're so quick to dismiss him. I mean, he is going to be the starting goalie for Team Canada for the Olympics. Well, probably, most likely. And we've seen Binnington exceed, and even with the Four Nations face-off, he played phenomenal in net. I feel like that is the number one talking point other people have when it comes to the Blues is, well, Jordan Binnington's not consistent. What do you mean? You have to realize that the defense that was in front of him last season was atrocious at times. There's no denying that. The inevitable is that the Blues are going to struggle probably a little bit on defense this season too. And I've accepted it. I'm not at peace with it, but I've accepted it. I know what's going to happen. But that doesn't take away from how good he is in between the pipes. And again, I feel like it's one of those easy kind of statements to make. And you could say that about any team. You could say about any single team in the NHL, maybe besides Florida right now with Bobrovsky, but you could say, oh, well, I think goaltending could be a potential issue for X, Y, and Z. And, for example, like Connor Hellebuck, right? You could say, he's a great goalie in the regular season, but when it comes to playoffs, that's where he struggles, and that's why the Jets are not going to win the cup. Now, again, you could say that about almost every single goalie. Even Jake Ottinger, you could say, well, you know what? He didn't look so great. Like there's things that you can say, right? But on the other hand, I feel like right now you just have to embrace this underdog mentality and exceed with it, because my favorite thing is when people watch the Blues play, especially in the playoffs, and they'll message me or I'll see videos about it. I wasn't expecting the St. Louis Blues to play this well. Well, that's because you're so quick to dismiss the one thing that makes them stand out so much, and that is Jordan Binnington. But fine, let's go say for just a conversation, Binnington, it doesn't have the best season, which again, it's Jordan Binnington. You also have Joel Hofer backing him up, who actually stepped up this season and played quite well. So I think when it comes to the goaltending aspect of the Blues, that's where they're the strongest in. And again, I will never understand the people that are so quick to say, well, you know what? Jordan Binnington, not a good goalie. That is insane. Like his rookie season, he basically got the Blues to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, I love Jake Allen and yeah, but when Jordan Binnington came in and stepped up, got the boys a cup. And oh, also, here we go. The Blues don't have any star players. That's another thing that I hear a lot. Well, do you necessarily need star players in order to win a championship in hockey? And this is a really interesting debate. And I think the reason why this is interesting is because we just witnessed a player who is a star within his own and completely respect Connor McDavid, but did he win a cup? No. You see, and this is kind of how it went with the Vegas Golden Knights when they won. It's kind of how it went with the Blues when they won. Sometimes when you don't have necessarily a huge star player, your team actually will do better. And I know that sounds so bizarre because usually the star players help you succeed and help you do well. But when you depend on one player to lead your team, it it's risky, and I'd rather have a team with a bunch of players that are really good players, maybe not star players, but really good players, and just have it work out like that. I mean, I think the Blues would benefit big time if Connor McDavid wanted to come to St. Louis. I'm not denying that by any means. Like the invitation's open. But at the same time, I love what the Blues have. I do. Like, you don't understand. Well, maybe you do because you're Blues fans like me. Um, but I love so much sometimes that when I watch our boys play and someone's like, oh, Jake Neighbors, he's really good. Robert Thomas, what a pass. Or even my favorite. I didn't know Jordan Kyrou could do that. Like, I love when people watch the Blues and they're surprised by how good this team is. And sometimes not having big names actually does your team a big service. Inside the locker room, obviously, I can attest to another team I cover that I'm inside the locker room with. But for the Blues and the few occasions that I am inside the locker room, there's no ego problems, nothing like that. It's actually a quite nice environment from the couple times I've been able to go inside and interview the guys. But the point is that there's not any of that pressure from the national media, right? Like you see how it is, and you saw that with Sidney Crosby, especially if you grew up like in the 2010s time. You saw that with him. You saw that with Ovechkin. Like there's certain players where national media or just in general the NHL might be hyper focused on because of them being that star player, and it puts a lot of pressure on the team actually, because you obviously are probably not going to be as good as Sidney Crosby if you're on the Penguins and you're not Sidney Crosby. And it puts pressure, unnecessary pressure. So I kind of like for that aspect that the Blues don't have that. Now, the only thing I will say is that I do worry about the defense, and you would be so stupid and foolish not to worry about the defense. I think every single Blues fan can say that that is their biggest concern heading into the season. But, like, why not be a cup contending team? This team made it to the playoffs. Like, they had an insane 12-game win streak. And you're going to say, this this team can't be a cup contending team. I think you're foolish. I do. I think this team has the potential to be a cup contending team. I'm excited, and you know what? I'm not going to apologize for believing in my team. I love the Blues, and I cannot wait for Blues hockey to begin. So yeah, am I going to be a little bit delusional, a little bit crazy? Absolutely, but that's what makes it so much fun. Speaking of fun, I want to talk to you about something that I use that helps me have fun all the time, and that is my friends over at Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family. Maybe it's a game day and you suddenly realize, I want to be in the stands. Well, that's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money that you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, or merch like I do, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it all possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last minute deals, clear seat views, and a low price guarantee that takes the worrying out of buying. Right now, it is still baseball season, and if you want to see our Cardinals in action, I would definitely check out Game Time. Now, I will also say this: pretty soon it's going to be hockey season, and you know me, little stick and puck action. Hey, when I go at Enterprise and watch the Blues play, use Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On NHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. The Central Division scares me. Um, hi. If you know anything about hockey, there's a couple simple things. One, pucks on the ice, sticks on the ice, players, nets, and the Central Division being scary. I was trying to say like stupid things about hockey, and I'm like, oh wait, that sounds stupid. But the Central Division is the toughest division in the NHL, and it's been like that. I mean, you have a couple of powerhouse teams. I mean, you can never count out the Dallas Stars. You can't count out the Colorado Avalanche. You just had the President Trophy winning Winnipeg Jets, who I don't think are going to be as good. And then, of course, you have the Minnesota Wild. Wild don't like that they scare me, but they do because they actually are a good team. You have the St. Louis Blues, LGB. Let's go, Blues. I'm a little biased. You have the Utah Mammoth that have a lot of young talent, like our hometown guy, Clayton Keller. You also have the Blackhawks. I know, Haley, the Blackhawks aren't good. Well, they will be good in a couple seasons. Their young guys are still developing, like they're going to be an actually good team. And then, of course, the Nashville Predators, who, hey, you have Steven Stamkos, so shout out to you. But no, overall, the Central Division is a scary team, and you would be foolish, not team division, but you would be foolish to deny that the best teams in the NHL are in the Central. And then you're going to say, oh, well, why haven't they won the cup? Okay, well, you know what? You make a point. Like, you make a point. I'm not going to deny it. But I think it is harder if you're a team in the West to get to the finals than it is for a team in the East. I feel like the East as a whole just doesn't have what the West has. And again, like I know not every team in the Pacific Division is that great, but I just feel like there's a lot of teams in the Metropolitan or even the Atlantic that are just not good, which makes it really easy for the teams in the East to step up and play just better hockey without less pressure on them, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, like obviously, when we're talking about the best conference, it's the West. And if we're talking about the best division, it's the Central. But I did a couple collaborations. I did a collaboration with Locked On Wild and Locked On Mammoth. And I really enjoy talking to Seth, Rob, and Tom. And the one consensus from the two crossovers that I did was sort of like this odd doubt with the Blues. And I found it really interesting. So Seth and I, we both predicted last season that the Blues would get wild card 2 and that the Wild would get wild card 1. And I thought Seth and I were like on the same kind of page when it came to this season. And I was actually a little bit surprised about the fact that when I said, kind of in a jokingly manner, well, maybe the Blues will get the 3 seed, he wasn't like, "Nah, that's a possibility." It was like, "Nope." And then with the Locked On Mammoth cast with Robin and Tom, when I asked both of them about, the Blues and, how I see them doing, Tom kind of made it seem like the Blues may not even go into the playoffs. And that confused me because no offense to the Mammoth, but I would say that the Blues have better talent, but they also made a lot of moves this offseason, the Mammoth. So it just is making me question everything. I mean, in this episode, it's funny. I talked about how I feel like the Blues could be a cup contending team. But at the same time, I'm also talking about how the other teams might have gotten better in the Central Division. And I think my problem is that I evaluate from the previous season, and maybe it's denial. Maybe I'm just living in denial that there are still some bigger issues with the Blues that I have yet to address. And it's not because I'm not aware. I think it's because I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated about the defense, and there are teams in the Central that have better defense than the Blues, no doubt about it. But when I was doing the two crossovers, I also said that I believe that the Winnipeg Jets might fall out. And I know that was crazy. And I- maybe I am a little crazy when it comes to my hate for the Jets, but I just don't see them as a team like even the Wild. And I know that might sound bizarre because, oh, they just won the President's Trophy. Okay, well, you know what? You saw the Bruins win it a couple seasons ago, and then look at them now. So don't tell me that, that every season, you never know. Like, okay, things happen. Like, your team is not going to always be good. But I just question if Doug did enough for the Blues this offseason with all the other teams in the Central really improving besides the exception of Nashville and Chicago because Utah improved. Wild, they improved. Avalanche improved. Dallas improved. Winnipeg, and not really. The Blues, I don't know. Like, that's the issue. I think I began to just have a little bit of doubt when it came to Zach Bolduc being traded away. That made me nervous. I hope Logan Mayu is everything that Doug wanted him to be and more because I am nervous. I am so nervous about how he's going to end up playing. So we'll see. But I think that this was an important conversation to bring up just for the pure fact and basis that, hey, hockey season almost here. And I'm a little nervous. Okay. So I want to talk to you since I was talking to you about hockey season. What is hockey? And you know what? What are sports without betting? August 26th is the official FanDuel Features Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. So for me personally, if somebody said to me, Hale, who is winning Super Bowl 60 back to back, baby, the Philadelphia Eagles. So I can also expand on my tattoo, but I think the Birds are going to run it back. They have such a great team. They didn't lose too many players. Now they did lose some talented players, but not too many. And listen, there's just too much talent on that team for you not to say they're going to win again. So obviously the Eagles. Now it's really interesting when it comes to MVP because when you look at the most valuable player, you have to, and I know this is going to be so predictable, but hear me out. Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson is going to have a fantastic season. And that's who I'm counting on for MVP. Also, let's also keep it so 100 right now. I would also say when it comes to teams that might surprise us this season, I would say the okay, this is a future. The Baltimore Ravens going to the Super Bowl. Not going to win it, but it's going to be Eagles Ravens Super Bowl. That's my prediction. I know, usually I do like my stuff on TikTok, but you know what? You get it first. So visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. I could talk about football all day, to be honest with you, and I do have an Eagles tattoo, so that's a yeah, football. Okay, go Birds. Anyways, but I love hockey more, so that's why I do this podcast. And I'm a Blues fan who like this is what I'm saying, like this is my life, whatever. Anyways, hi. It is time for my favorite Friday segment, my only Friday segment. You know what time it is? Are we feeling blue? Where we talk about if this was a good week or a bad week for the St. Louis Blues. And I have to tell you, friends, this was a good week for our St. Louis Blues. Do you want to know why this was a good week? Well, it's simple. August 20th. What happened on August 20th, Hale? Oh, is that when the anniversary is? It is when the anniversary is. When Edmonton declined to match the offer sheets for Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. Yeah. Happy 1 year. I am so ecstatic still about the double offer sheets. That was one of the craziest things I've seen a GM do in a long, long time. In a good way, actually. But no, it was honestly such a nice day to reminisce and just to remember how excited we all were because we were in that state of mind where it was like, is it going to be just one? Is it going to be both? Is it going to be none? Like, what is going on? And it ended up being both of the guys. So for me personally, I really am just so over the moon about that. Now, well, okay. We found some promotions. We love that. You know, we also have Blues and Brews. So, you know, that's cool. LGB, let's go Blues. And I guess you could say, and I usually say like, oh, like nothing bad happened. Well, it's not even bad, but I guess like, depends on how you look at it. I guess like the only thing that happened that created a little bit of controversy this week was about Lucic getting a PTO. But at the end of the day, like he's not on the team. And I think that's the one reminder that we all need to have is freak out if he makes the roster or makes the team, I should say, and you're upset about it. Like, okay, whatever. I'm not dismissing you by any means, but I'm just saying it's just a professional tryout right now. I don't want to get into the legal jargon. I already talked about that on an episode. But what I will say, though, to anybody that's doubting the Blues' culture, don't. The Blues have a really good culture, a really good team, a really good staff in terms of personnel, fantastic, great alumni. And like, I just don't need that to be, you know, a headline. Oh, the Blues have bad culture. No, the Blues actually have good culture. So I'll defend them on that. All right. I will talk to you on Monday. But if there's any breaking news, like always, you'll see it on X at Locked On Blues. I'm Haley Taylor Simon, and I'm going to watch some Blues highlights tonight. And like always, let's go Blues.